Okay, so I immediately, before we talked about your newsletter, I wanted to get into. I felt like I kind of approached the nutrition topic a little bit off center on the last episode. I thought it was good, but I thought my questions to you were kind of holding you up like an authority, and it wasn't conscious. I wasn't trying to do it, but I was unimpressed with my questions to you. So maybe I don't know. Is there anything you can think of that would kind of broaden the scope of what we were talking about last time in terms of approaching nutrition? And of course, that will probably lead right into your new newsletter.
Uh, um, well, that nutrition is as complex and open and undefined as metaphysics or cosmology or anything. It's a process of exploring and learning and figuring things out, and so it's never a closed book, never a finished subject.
What is the problem with authoritarianism in nutrition? Like if somebody says, "Oh, Ray Peat says to eat 100 grams of protein and 200 grams of carbohydrate," like what does that
Uh,
negate from the individual trying to figure things out?
Everything is always changing and always individual and always changed by context. And so what's true for one person today, where they are, will necessarily be somewhat different when they're in a different place doing different things. Uh, it's always looking at your problems immediately in your context, and to understand those, it helps to look at your history, how you got to where you are, and what you want to do to get beyond the present. Uh, uh, so all the dimensions have to be flexible, and so your digestive system reflects the things you've done in the past. Your whole being is taking form, assimilating things you've experienced and intend to experience. So you have to think of yourself as an inventive participant in everything, including your choices of foods.
Well, given how complex everything is and everything's a moving target, like how do you even approach the subject?
Um, with what you've been doing and how it has worked for you. If you've been living on sweet potatoes and pork fat and you're doing okay in the middle age, then you don't see much need for a change.
But what if somebody was grown up eating cereal and fruit snacks? What would?
They probably wouldn't have grown up very much.
Oh no, that's me. So okay, so would the context change if somebody's saying, writing you an email and saying, "Hey Ray, I have low pulse rate, a low temperature, high cholesterol, constipation." Is that what makes the suggestions in context with what the person is explaining?
Yeah. All of those things point to uh, hypometabolism, low thyroid function.
And then okay, so if you're saying something like protein, carbohydrate, calcium, etc., you're giving those facts to that person, and then it's up to them, like we talked about last time, the creative act of conversation, and then that person assimilating the info and trying to extract something out of it something out of it that means something to them in their life.
Yeah, because their digestive system is going to have its unique oddities, and it might turn out that the high protein diet that would quickly cure someone if they already have a sensitivity to serotonin and tryptophan, for example, they might have to work into that very carefully with a diet emphasizing more gelatin than than the highest quality proteins.
And then when somebody emails you and says, "I'm doing the Peat diet," what is your what do you think of that?
First, I ask them what they're eating.
So you wouldn't automatically assume that was so. Just to be completely honest here, so I told you that I don't like that term, and I used to edit it out of podcasts, but it has gained a lot of traction. But you think even using that term, I'm not saying you think this, but that it's probably kind of to really reduce your work into silly territory, saying something like Peat diet. You think?
Pretty much. From what I hear, that people are eating on the Peat diet. At least it usually excludes eating a lot of bread and green salads and beans, but those are, I think, a few of the things that people generally realize can be harmful. What tastes good is very important. Your impulses, your needs, very often are responsible for what you're eating. But if you're supplied with something not quite like what you need, then your taste might cause you to do something like overeating on sugar or salt, where your cravings are biologically logical, but if the way you are led to satisfy your cravings is abnormal, then your body might be tricked into malfunctioning, even though it's following its impulses. When your thyroid function is low, your blood sugar becomes unstable, and so you tend to crave sweets and alternatively salt, which helps you to use the glucose efficiently. But if your mixed foods that would supply those needs, if they're very distorted, then you might not correct the problem by following your instincts. So you have to use your other perceptions and thought processes to figure out just what it is your body is telling you to do.
What was that H.G. Wells quote? It's like nature never appeals to intellect unless intuition fails, or what was something else fails? Your instincts fail.
Yeah.
Could somebody be in such a bad place that their orienting reflex and intuition is just so jaded and blurry that, for lack of a better word, or suggesting something to them would that still be kind of a bad situation? Like, how would you approach something like that?
People tend to be immersed in the forces of their authoritarian surroundings. The culture that they have integrated is telling them to do certain things, like go to the doctor if you feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are, if your body doesn't play a role in those cultural instructions, then you'll go to the doctor, go to your job, maybe go to church, do whatever the culture prescribes, and ignore what your body is telling you. But anyone can start to listen to themselves, and when they are mentally hearing instructions, a conscience telling them what they should be doing, if they listen carefully, they'll be able to detect the source of where that instruction is coming from. And the guru, I don't know what he was officially called, but George Gurdjieff, his basic principle was remember yourself. And that really meant looking at what your body impulses are doing and put that into conjunction with what your environment is ordering you to do. And like you call up an image of who is speaking the instructions to you, and then check how that image and set of instructions goes with your heart plexus and your solar plexus, and check out what it does to your body. And usually you feel a shrinking, oppressed feeling in your body when you hear those conscience voices speaking to you.
I feel the opposite when I eat a chirimoya. So there's that. You said G.I. Gurdjieff, right? Is that the guru?
Yeah.
He has a quote, without self-knowledge, without understanding the working and functions of his machine, man cannot be free, and he cannot govern himself, and he will always remain a slave. So that's
that
pretty
sounds
solid.
good.
Yeah.